Is my screen visible to you?
Good.
Okay.
We can start.
Okay. So I think with the last class we discussed more about the forms and tables of HTML. This particular class we'll discuss more about the extra markup. Extra markup in HTML, Flash, audio and video. So this is especially for you, my dear young students and young researchers, and you can reach me at dr.christoananth@gmail.com. So thank you guys for giving me this golden opportunity to deliver this useful session to share my knowledge among my fellow national, international participants, students, tech minds, and young researchers. So today's class we will discuss more about the introduction, a short introduction about extra markup, and then the various document types, the commands in HTML, the ID attribute, the class attribute, and then we'll discuss more about the iframes, escape characters, and then the second part of today's class would be Flash, a short introduction, and then the timeline image of Flash, audio and video, and then adding a Flash movie to your web page. With the case of HTML5, we'll discuss more about the multiple video sources, how to add a Flash MP3 player, and then we'll discuss more about the independent work, and then we'll have short videos at regular intervals to explain our topics. So about the extra markup, we have like different versions of HTML, and it is entirely dependent on which version of HTML you are using. Normally, we will tend to use HTML5. Okay. So in HTML or maybe HTML5 even, you will get to know how to add comments to your code, and then the importance of having the global attributes which can be used in any element. In the global attributes, we have the class attribute as well as the ID attribute, and then the elements which are used to group together the parts of the page where no other element is suitable, and then how to embed a page within a page using iframes, and then how to add information about the web page using the meta element, and then we will discuss more about the adding characters such as angle brackets and copyright symbols. So this is an example of an extra markup. So we have the H1 tag, the title, the art bookshop, and then we have the sub elements home, we contact, okay, and then we publication, and then you have the address, okay, and then you have an email ID to contact, and then you have a Google map even where you have the address. Okay, so we'll discuss more about how you display this Google map, how you display this address, and so on. And you have the copyright, the art bookshop. Okay. So we'll discuss more about how you display each of these functions. So about the document types, there have been several versions of HTML. So each web page should begin with a doc type declaration. So instead of HTML tag, you start with a doc type declaration, which actually tells the browser which version of HTML the page is using. Okay. So this HTML, normally we use XHTML. So this XHTML was written in XML. Okay. You will sometimes see pages that use XHTML strict doc type format, which start with a optional XML declaration. So whenever this XHTML strictly with doc type which is being used, it should be the first thing in a document. So you should start with the XHTML with the case of doc type, okay, and there shouldn't be anything before that, okay, not even a space even. Okay, so this is how you start a normal HTML code if you are using XHTML strict doc type format. So this is an example. So this is how you start. So with the case of HTML5, you start with the exclamatory symbol, doc type HTML, and then you will have doc type HTML public, and then you are going to access with the w3.org/tr/html14/loose.ttt. Okay. And then, for example, if it is a strict hex HTML format, so you have exclamatory symbol doc type HTML public. Okay, public. So you try to access w3.org/tr/xhtml. Okay, 1/ttt. Okay, so /xhtml1 strict.ttt. Okay. Then with the case of declaration, with the XML. Okay, if you are going to declare the XML, so you have question mark XML version equal to 1.0. So this is actually optional. Okay, so this can be included after this XHTML tags. So the comments in HTML, we have the exclamatory symbol, and then you have some comments, and then followed with that. So you have, if you want to add a comment to your code, this will not be visible in the user's browser, which means that it will be displayed in a different color. Okay. So you can add text between these characters. So something which is present between these tags, like exclamatory symbol, like a opening tag and close tag, you call it to be the comments. So here your comment goes here. You can add comments to your code, because no matter how familiar you are with the page at the time of writing it, you can come back to it later. So if you try to add comments, it is a means to inform the coder, the programmer, or maybe the reader to understand the logic of the program. So it is very easy to understand a particular code. So although comments are not visible to the users in the main browser window, they can be viewed by anyone who look at the source code. For example, if you try to right click on it and then go to the source code, or we inspect elements, so you will have the source code. So you will have the comment section here. On a long page, you will often see comments used to indicate where section of page start, or maybe where section of page end. And to pass on notes to help anyone who is looking at the code understand it. So comments can also be used around blocks of code to stop that code from being displayed in the browser. So as I told you, in the source code you can actually view it, but in the main browser window you cannot see this. So this is the comments in HTML. So if you start with exclamatory symbol, start of introduction. This is actually the H1 tag. So this is actually displayed here, current exhibition. And then H2 tag is subheading all of our LSM. Okay, so that's being displayed. And then you have a comment, end of introduction, start of main text. So you have the paragraph tag, all of our LSM was born and so and so. And then another paragraph. Okay. And then you have exclamatory symbol, end of main text. Okay. And then exclamatory symbol. This is actually also comment, a href equal to main group info at example.org. Okay, contact. So this is also a type of comment. So this is being displayed, h1 tag, h2 tag, and then paragraph 1 and then paragraph 2. So as I told you, we have the ID attribute. So every HTML element will be having an ID attribute. So it's very uniquely identify that element from other elements of the page. So every element will be having separate ID. So that's what you call to be the ID attribute. Its value should start with a letter or maybe an underscore, but not definitely a number or any other character. It should start with a letter or it should start with an underscore. Okay, not with a letter, not with a number. So it's very important that no two elements on the same page can have the same value for their ID attributes. For example, if you want to assign one paragraph within a page, a different style than all other paragraphs. And for example, I will be showing an example where the paragraph with the attribute, ID attribute with the value to be a full quote is made uppercase by using CSS. So if you are maybe using JavaScript, ID attributes can be used to allow script to work with that particular element. And ID attribute is also known as a global attribute because it can be used on any other element. So this is the case with ID attribute. So each of the elements will be having separate ID. So this is an example of the ID attribute. So as I told you, like the paragraph, we have the start paragraph. Okay, you're going to edit, and then you have the ID. Okay, P ID equal to full quote. Okay, so you are going to display everything in uppercase. Okay, so every time I view the sea, I feel a calming sense of security, as if visiting my ancestral home. I embark on a voyage of sea. So this one is actually displayed in the capital letters. Okay, and afterwards, this one as usual in the sentence case. So this is ID attribute. Actually, you can see that this paragraph is different from the first paragraph and the third paragraph. And then you have the class attribute. So every HTML element will be having a class attribute. Sometimes rather than uniquely identifying one element within a document, you will have like several ways to identify several elements. Okay. For example, you might have some paragraphs of text that contains information. For example, it might be more important than others, then you want to distinguish these elements. And in order to differentiate between several links that point to others pages in the one site and link to several external websites, even you can use this class attributes. Okay, so you can use this class attributes in the HTML tag. Okay, its value should describe the class it belongs to. Okay, so these key paragraphs can have the class attributes. So class attributes can have the same value. Okay, so I'll be showing you how you will be using this class attributes. Still, like ID attribute, this class attribute will be uniquely identifying one element within the document. Still, you can use class attributes for different paragraphs here. So this is a class attribute. For example, with this one, class equal to important. Okay, so this one, it will be displayed in uppercase, but still it appears to be a little more bold than the other paragraph. Okay, so that's the reason this one entire paragraph it's displayed in uppercase as well as slightly bold, and then this one normal paragraph, and this one you have has, okay, equal to 10 to 18, no admittance after 1730. This one important admittance. Okay, important admittance, which means that this is displayed in a different color. Okay, try to understand between class equal to important and class equal to important admittance. Okay, this one is displayed in uppercase, black color, slightly bolded. This one normal paragraph, this one red color. Okay, so you should understand the difference of the using the class attribute for different paragraphs. So as I told you, we'll discuss more about the iframes. So an iframe is just like a little window that has been cut into your page, and in that window you can see another page. So one page within another page, you call it to be the iframe. Okay. So iframe is nothing but inline frame. So one common use of iframes is to embed a Google map into a page. Okay, so you can have this Google map, you will have the contact address, okay, contact details, phone number even within that page. So that's what you call it to be the iframes. So the content of the iframe can be any HTML page. Maybe it can be located on the same server, or maybe it can be located in any other website. So iframe is created using the iframe element. So there are attributes. There are some attributes that are present in this iframe. You will have src attribute. Src attribute, it specifies the URL of the page to show in the frame. And then you have the height attribute. Height means height of the iframe in pixels. Width means width of the iframe in pixels. So you have src attribute, height attribute, width attribute. So this is what I was telling you. You can have a Google map, okay, an iframe width equal to 450, height equal to 350, and the source is actually this one, google.co.uk maps. Okay, so this is the location, okay, address, and this is the width as well as the height given. Okay, so you are trying to load a particular web page. So these are the escape characters that you tend to use with uh, these type of even the iframes even. Okay, you have less than sign, greater than sign, ampersand, quotation mark, cent sign, pound sign, yen sign, euro sign, copyright symbol, registered trademark. This is actually normal trademark. Single quote, left single quote, right single quote, left double quote, right double quote, multiplication sign, and division sign. So these are the escape characters that you use in the extra mark. So this is the HTML code for the extra markup here. So you start with the exclamatory symbol, document type, HTML public. Okay. So you're going to access w3.org/dr/html14/loose.ttd. You start with the HTML tag, header, head, meta name equal to description, content, telephone, email, and directions for the art bookshop, London, UK. And then the title is actually with the title of the tab. It is nothing but contact the art bookshop, London, UK. You close the head tag, body. You start with the body, div id hyphen header. Okay. So you start with the h1 tag. So h1 is nothing but the main heading. Okay, art bookshop, and you start with the unordered list, UL. Okay. So with the case of the list, you go with home, new publications, and then LI class, the current page, you give the contact. You close the /UL and then close /div. Then you start with div ID content, sharing crossroad London. So this is actually a paragraph. Okay. Another paragraph, you have the telephone. Okay, telephone, and then the spam class, we have the email. We have books at example.com, and then with the iframe. So you are trying to load a web page, nothing but a Google map. Okay, and you are trying to point to a location. We have the width 425, height 275. So accordingly, the image will be displayed, and then /div, and then you are going to go with the paragraph tag, Amazon copy, the art bookshop, and then close body, close history. So this is how the image looks like. So we have the h1 tag art element. So you have the unordered list, and then you have the address being displayed, the telephone being displayed, and then you have the email. Okay. Then you have the map, Google map, where you try to have the address. You can have the contact details accordingly. So you are trying to point to that page. You can have the width and height specified accordingly. And finally, the copyright symbol, the art bookshop. Here we would be discussing about how to add animations, audio, or maybe video to the websites. So whether you are creating an animation or maybe a media player in Flash, the files are nothing but the Flash movies. So if you have to create your own Flash movie, you have to purchase the Flash authoring environment from the Adobe. So there are several companies that offer Flash animations and slideshows. We have the video as well as audio players that you can use without purchasing this tool. And when you create a Flash file in the Flash authoring environment, you can save it in the .fla file extension. Okay. So .fla means Flash. Okay. In order to use this file on a web page, it has to be saved in a different format. For example, you have SWF. Okay. Right. So it has the .swf file extension. Okay. So this is how you try to use this Flash audio as well as video. So in the case of how you export the movie into SWF format, Flash creates a code that you can use it to embed the Flash movie in your page. So traditionally this code used the HTML object tag as well as embed tag. Okay. So however, it's very more common to use JavaScript even, but still you can use HTML. So in order to view the Flash, browsers need to use a plugin, okay, called the Flash Player, which is nothing but an extra piece of software that runs the browser. For example, if you are trying to watch any YouTube video. But suppose if you don't have a Adobe Flash player, then it will say install the Adobe Flash player. Only then you can see the video, something like that. So you should have a Flash player being installed, and the statistics commonly indicate that 98% of the browsers on desktop computers have the Flash plugin installed. Normally, very less have the doesn't have a Flash plugin, and the percentage of mobiles and tablets with it is much less. So this is actually the Flash authoring environment which is used to create the Flash movies, and then you have the .fla file being exported to .swf format. Only then you can add the Flash video, use it in a web page, and then the .swf file is included in your web page using the JavaScript. So this is how you add the Flash. So this is the timeline of the Flash audio and video. So over the years from 1995 to 2003, you have like a future Flash. Okay, right. We have the real audio streaming audio, and then you have real video streaming video, and then you have real video 8 streaming video, and then you have Flash MX Flash video. So over the years, you can say like animation, okay, Flash. You have the real development, real video 8 streaming video, and then you have Flash MX Flash video. So you can see that the first major players to provide web animation, audio and video, and then you can see some of the technologies and events replacement like MX Flash video and so on. So this is the timeline of how the Flash audio and video have developed over the years from 1995 to 2003. Okay, so from 2004 to 2011, how it has developed, we can see. We have the video sharing sites after alternatives to self-hosting, and then Vimeo. You would have heard about this one, Vimeo, Vimeo, which is launched, and after that in 2005, you have the YouTube. Okay. But in the case of JavaScript, you have prototype, script.aglo.us, jQuery event, and after the YouTube came YouTube releases iPhone app. Okay. Back from between 2007 and 2008. And in 2010, Vimeo releases the HTML5 player. Still, in parallel, concurrently, YouTube releases HTML5 player, and then you have the Vimeo which releases iPhone app. Okay. But during from JavaScript, you have the Apple which releases devices that don't support Flash, but still there are browsers like Safari 3.1, Chrome 3, Firefox 3.5, Opera 9. Okay. Which introduces HTML5 video as well as audio tabs, and then in 2011 came Internet Explorer 9. So there were parallel developments with the case of Flash audio as well as video. So we'll discuss about how to add a Flash movie to your web page. So the common way is using the JavaScript. There are several scripts that allows you to do this without a in-depth understanding of the JavaScript language. So here the script is actually SWF object. You can obtain a copy of it for free from the Google. So if you type maybe SWF object, you will be able to get that, and maybe you can see how you use it. Okay, maybe in the next page I will see that. Okay, and there is an advantage of using this SWF object, because it allows browsers to show alternate content for users whose browsers are not capable of showing Flash. So instead of showing 404 error, or maybe it's failing to load the page, but it will show you an alternate page. Okay, for example, if the Flash is not being supported. So the techniques uses div element to create a space where the Flash movie should sit. Okay. And the div element has an ID attribute. So here the div element will be having the value of SWF object script. So here the value of the ID attribute is bird. Okay. So inside this div element you can place a alternate content for users who are not being able to play the Flash. So I will be discussing this with the example. Also the SWF object script will check to see if the user's browser can play the Flash movie. So if it is able to play, means the script will replace the content of the div with the .swf file. For the users who cannot see the Flash movie, you can still show a still from the movie instead. Okay. Because normally, for example, if you try to see an older movie, like if the Flash is not being supported, it will show you the promo image. Okay. But for others, if they have Flash, means they will run the movie. You might also consider using text description of the Flash file. So if you use a text description as alternate content, then the text can be accessed by using visual or maybe physical impairments who are not being able to interact with the Flash file. So the text can be indexed by the search engines, increasing the chance that your content will be found here. So this is how you add a Flash video to your web pages. So the examples uses OS FLV player to display a video called puppy.flv. This is actually the video puppy.flv, which has already been converted into this FLV format. You have already seen how to use this SWF object to embed a basic animation in a page. But sometimes Flash movies, they generally need information in order for them to work. Okay. So here we will be using it uses SWF object, which uses the JavaScript variables. Okay. So here this particular player is not expecting any information in the Flash was variable, so it is left empty. So we will see how it works. So you start with the exclamatory symbol, document type HTML, head tag, title tag, adding a Flash video is the title. And then in the script type, you use text / JavaScript. Source is actually the web page you are pointing to, and the SWF object. So script type, you have the var flash was var parameters, okay, and then SWF object. So this is what we are discussing. This particular player is not expecting any information in the flash was variable, so that it is being left empty. And then you close the head tag and you start the body, okay. So div id snow, a video of puppy playing in the snow. So this is actually the description you give with the puppy.flv. And then you close the body and close the history. So this is all about multiple video sources. So you use the source element inside the video element. So this should replace the source attribute on the opening video tag. So this source element, you can use multiple source elements to specify the video is available in different formats. For example, FLV, MP3, MP4, okay, or maybe webmaster. So any format you can use it. Different multiple video source elements that you can use. So since there is a bug on the iPad, normally the common acceptable format is MP4 format. Okay, MP4 video format. Otherwise, it will not play. Also, like the source tag, you will have src tag. It will specify the URL or maybe the path to the video, and then you have the type. Okay, so you should use this attribute to tell the browser what format the video is. Okay, otherwise it will download some of the video to see if it can play the file. So you will have source tag, src tag, as well as type tag. And then you have codecs. So codec is nothing but encoding the video which is supplied within the type attribute. So you should use single quotes as well as double quotes in the type attribute whenever it is being supplied. If the browser doesn't support the video element, then it will display whatever is displayed between the opening and closing video tag. So suppose if it is not being displayed, it will just show you the image, okay, the video, just video. Okay. So only if you have a flash, then it will run the video. Or maybe if the video format is not supported, it will not run the video. So this is an example. You start with exclamatory symbol, doc type HTML tag, head tag. The title you give multiple video sources. Slash head. You start with the body, video poster, images, puppy.jpg, okay, with height you are specifying. Okay. And source src, video / puppy webmaster format. For example, if this video format is not accepted, not supported, then it will just display an image. This is actually video poster, images slash copy.jpg. For example, if this flash is actually supported, then it will run the video. And then you have the paragraph, a video of a puppy playing in the snow. So for example, if this format is not accepted, means it will show this image and it will show a video of a puppy playing in the snow. So for example, if the video is supported, means it will automatically run the video. And then you close the video tag, close the body tag, close the HTML. So this is adding a Flash MP3 player. This is not video, but this is audio. And there are several MP3 players that have been written the Flash. For example, Flash MP3 player.net, or maybe maybe wimpyplayer.com, or maybe musicplayer.sourceforge.net. Okay, so these players, they have like different functionality. Each of the players like have different functionality, so you can check their features. Okay, for example, here we use a type, nothing but Flash MP3 player.net, which is actually embedded in the page using SWF object. Okay, so already we discussed this one, SWF object. So with this one, you use a Flash MP3 player.net, and after this script tag, you can see what we have created. Two JavaScript variables. You have Flash vars and then params. Okay, so you use this Flash vars and then params. Okay, so the same thing we are trying to repeat, but only thing in the case of slash head, we start with the body, div id, music player. You cannot hear this track because this browser doesn't support a Flash music player. So suppose the format is not supported, means you will see this message. Okay. Suppose the format is accepted, means then it will play the audio. Okay. But you need not have to have any value with the params function. Okay, maybe have the Flash vars function. So this is an empty tag, and the var params you have the MP3 music slash noise.mp3. So this is how you try to play the audio if the format is supported, and if it is not supported, means you will see this line. You cannot hear this track because this browser does not support our Flash music. So this is an example of Flash audio and video. So you start with the exclamatory symbol, document type HTML, and then HTML tag, hit, and then you have the title, Flash audio video, and script type you are giving source src attribute. You are going to access this URL, and then script type you are going to go with the var Flash vars, okay, and empty brace, and then var params is equal to movie, this video slash copy.flb. Don't forget to access this SWF object, but embed SWF function, and then close the head tag, and then start the body tag. Video posted images slash copy.jpg, which means that if the page is not loading, means it will show this image. Okay. And then you have the source src. You have the video slash copy.webmaster. So it is offering like various video sources like MP4 format, webmaster, WEBM format. Okay, and then div id snow. Okay, and then you have the display message. For example, if the format is not supported, means you will display. You will have this message. You cannot see this video of a puppy playing in the snow because this browser doesn't support our video formats. And then you close the div format slash video slash body slash HTML. So this is how you display. For example, if the format is not supported, means it will show an image, and then you will have this particular message. Otherwise, it will display the video and you can play a product.